Imagine you can have a car that is affordable, reliable, and has a sense of luxury for a price tag of below 500,000 Kenya shillings. Yes, because autokonnekt is the only car channel that will guarantee you an alluring motor vehicle experience, we are going to list these 5 cars that will give you dependability, and most importantly are going to give you a sense of luxury. For 500,000 Kenya shillings, you probably think that the only car you can get is a Kadudu. Well, that's not the case. And I'll be your host taking you through this list, Eric Wakabi, Eric with a CK. Remember, you can follow me at a personal level on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. And you can share your feedback because we value it on our social media platforms, autokonnekt on Facebook and also Instagram. Now, let's get up close and candid with this list. Number 1 on our list is a very unlikely contender. It is manufactured by Nissan and many people fear it for being thirsty and being unreliable. And the aspect of unreliability is because of its gearbox. However, that is not necessarily the case. In fact, there are variants of this vehicle that were very good and very luxurious. Now, which car are we talking about? This is the first generation of the Nissan Teana that is called the Nissan Teana J31. And it was made roomy. It has a very enticing interior, and it is very comfortable because when it comes to comfort, Nissan has a way of making their vehicles quite comfortable. Now, let's talk about the variants of the J31. The J31 came in 3 major variants, and that was the 200JK, the 230JK, and the 350JM. Now, the 200JK came with Nissan's QR20DE engine, which is a 2-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. The 230JK came with a 2.3-liter VQ23DE engine, again naturally aspirated but with a displacement of 2,300 cc's. Now, the most thirsty is the 350JM, which has Nissan's famous VQ35 engine, and it's a powerful engine, but it's quite thirsty. Now, let's get to the gearbox. I told you the Teana, the first generation Teana, the J31, was in production from the year 2003 all the way to the year 2008. However, the best years of manufacture to buy the Nissan Teana J31 was from 2003 all the way to 2005. Why is this so? Because in December of 2005, the Nissan Teana J31 got a gearbox upgrade. Before then, it was a bit thirsty, and Nissan wanted to find a way of fine-tuning the comfort and also reduce fuel consumption. So they decided to slap in a CVT transmission. And this particular CVT transmission that they put in this vehicle is a CVT transmission that is called the JF011E. Now, this transmission was among the first CVTs to be slapped into the Teana, and it had some weak points. One, it would overheat when in hot climate or under heavy load. That, however, would be solved by using an aftermarket transmission oil cooler. Now, the second problem was the belt slippage, and this would cause juddering and loss of power. Number 3, the third defect of this gearbox would be solved again by using an aftermarket transmission oil cooler, because it's something that is affected by problem number 1. So defect number 3 is degradation of the CVTF in a way that is quite rapid as compared to the normal rate of degradation, and that was caused by overheating. So again, that would be solved by installing an aftermarket transmission oil cooler. However, if you do not want the hassle of having the JF011E CVT transmission, you could easily buy a 2003 to a 2005 Nissan Teana that came with a Jatco 4-speed automatic transmission. Well, its fuel economy might not be as good as the one with the CVT transmission, but it's more reliable, and the difference in fuel consumption is actually very, very little. So you can buy a luxurious, affordable vehicle that is also dependable for less than 500,000 Kenya shillings, and that has to be the Nissan Teana J31 from 2003 year of manufacture all the way to 2005 year of manufacture. And the best combination, if you want realistic fuel consumption, would be to get the 200 JK that shares an engine with the Nissan X-Trail T30, and that is the QR20DE engine that has 2000 cc's of displacement. Now let's head over to car number 2. Car number 2 comes from the Toyota family of semi-luxury sedans. Which car are we talking about? We are talking about the Toyota Mark II GX110. And it is loved by many people in Tanzania. It's comfortable, it's spacious, and it has that feel of luxury inside. It also comes with a variety of engines, but to be specific, the GX110 comes with the 2-liter 1G FE engine that has a straight 6 layout. It's quite powerful because it can push over 150 horsepower, and again, it's also very comfortable and feels very luxurious when you're driving it. In Kenya, most people will fear the GX110 because of its fuel economy, and they say that it has bad fuel economy. However, if you're running on the correct spark plugs, the Toyota Mark II GX110 will give you a fuel economy of between 10 to 12 kilometers to the liter combined. And to be honest, that is not bad. Now, to put some icing to the cake, you're going to get the GX110 for around 500,000 Kenya shillings or even less. And you know, this is a car that comes from the Toyota Mark X and the Toyota Crown, Toyota Cressida heritage. So it's a nice car, and the most attractive thing about the Mark II is its reliability. The 1G FE engine is almost bulletproof. It's an engine that does not say die that easily. It's an engine that will stand some abuse as well. So in case umesahau karukisha gari service, the Mark II will still serve you gracefully. But I would recommend that you service it religiously so that you can get at least good fuel economy. Car number 3 on our list. You cannot talk about luxury in cars and not talk about Mercedes-Benz. But did you know that Mercedes-Benz can also offer affordable luxury? Yes, the third car on our list comes from the Mercedes-Benz family, and it is quite reliable and easy to maintain as well. Now, depending on which engine you get it in, it's going to be quite economical on fuel. It will have decent fuel economy. Which car are we talking about? We are talking about the Mercedes-Benz W202. Now, the W202 is a C-Class, and if you want one that is reliable and that will give you decent fuel economy, go for the one with the M111 engine, because that engine is very, very, very reliable, and it's also very tolerant. Now, the other thing is that Mercedes-Benz W202 parts are not very expensive if you're sourcing them in the Kenyan market right now, because there was a time these vehicles were many. Again, you can get cars from aftermarket dealers and even junkyards. So it's a car that is actually very easy to live with. But if you want one that is going to be decent on fuel and as well as give you a little bit of luxury, go for the C180 W202 or the C200 W202. You can get them for between 500,000 Kenya shillings to around 400,000 Kenya shillings, depending on how clean this car is. Disclaimer though, there are some engines that were put in the W202 that were not necessarily fuel economical. Yes, so that's why I'm emphasizing get one with the M111 engine. And the other disclaimer is that there are some W202s that can go above the 600,000 Kenya shilling mark. Yes, but good thing is you can still get a clean one for between 500,000 and 400,000 Kenya shillings. Again, depending on whether it's manual or auto. The auto ones are mostly preferred, but enthusiasts would go for the manual ones. Car number 4 comes from France, and it's a car that was very popular with Kenya's judiciary. Which car are we talking about? We are talking about the Peugeot 406. And whenever you talk about the Peugeot 406, the most interesting bits about the 406 is that it was a timeless car. Why am I saying it was a timeless car? Number one, this car was in production from 1995 all the way to the year 2008. And uh, some people might dispute, but the reason why I say 2008 is because there are some markets like Egypt that push the production of the 406 up to around 2008. Yes. And imagine, for a car its age, this vehicle had electric seats with a memory function. It also had a rain sensor. And as if that is not enough, it came with a speed sensitive power steering system. Yes, we are talking about a 30 something year old vehicle. But one thing is, these features were available in the high trim levels of the Peugeot 406. Now, what made the 406 luxurious? Number one was the build quality, because it was a very well built car and it looked amazing. In fact, up to date, in spite of it being an old vehicle, it still strikes the eye when it comes to the appearance. In fact, you will show up in a Peugeot 406 for a business meeting and you will still look very serious. Now, the other thing that made it luxurious is the comfort inside the Peugeot 406. And the reason why the 406 was actually this comfortable is because of its suspension setup. Now, at the front, in the traditional front wheel drive vehicles, we normally have McPherson struts. But with the 406, we have inverted an inverted McPherson's suspension system. That means the suspension system on the Peugeot 406 is inverse, or the other way around, of most traditional front wheel drive vehicles. And now what this does is that it reduces what is called the unsprung weight, and this improves the handling and also the ride quality of the vehicle. And that is why most people who have driven the 406s, they say they handle like sports cars. And that is because of the inverted McPherson suspension system at the front. Now, at the back is where even things get more interesting. Imagine, for a car the age of a 406, we had a multi-link suspension that was called the RS10. Now, the RS10 at the back included 3 transverse control arms and 1 longitudinal arm. And what this would do, in case you would brake, it would just give in case you maybe need emergency braking and the rear end would rise, now that suspension system would give the rear wheels a positive camber to make sure that you have stability even when you're having abrupt maneuvers that can make the car topple over. And now the other thing is that the RS10 suspension system on the Peugeot 406, it made it handle brilliantly when it came to corners. That's why driving the 406 is almost like driving a dream. Enthusiasts who love the 406 can attest to the driving quality of the 406, and that also affects the comfort, because irrespective of being an old car, even if you a 406 today, its comfort rivals most of the cars that are in the market today. In fact, most cars that are being sold today can never outshine the 406 when it came to comfort. The beautiful thing about it is that today you can get it for as low as 350,000 Kenya shillings. And it is very easy to maintain because we have so many of them in the junkyards, and we also have a lot of aftermarket support when it comes to the parts of the Peugeot 406. And it came with so many engine options, and you're spoiled for choice. If you want fuel economy, you can get the 1.6 liter. If you want performance, you can go for the V6 engine options that we have for the Peugeot 406. And that is why it has made its way to number 4 on our list. today. Car number 5 is another underrated vehicle in the Kenyan car market space. But before I tell you about it, I would like to remind you that we offer services such as pre-purchase inspection, consultation on matters cars, and also sourcing. If you don't want to go through the hustle and bustle of looking for a car, we can assist you with sourcing a car. Now, car number 5 is a car that is feared by many, and I'll tell you why. Okay, most people perceive it to be extremely unreliable and extremely thirsty, but that is not necessarily the case, because according to the engine option you choose, it can be quite forgiving. Which car are we talking about? We're talking about the 8th generation Mitsubishi Galant. Yes, it's quite a looker, and it looks very sporty, and Mitsubishi built this car really well. So it's a solid build. It's very comfortable, especially if you get the ones with the 2.4 or 2.5 V6 engine. They were built for the higher market, and that's why they are quite comfortable. They come with fancy features such as electric seats, but unfortunately, with these big engines, they give them a 4-speed automatic transmission, and that is why sometimes it consumes quite a lot of fuel. Now, the particular transmission that they have is what is called the Invex 2 automatic transmission. I know there are people who want to jump into the comment section and say, no, the Galant is not a good car. Now, there are some Galants that were basically terrible. And if you're buying a Galant, I would advise you not to get the one with the 4G93 engine, the 4G93 GDI. We know first generation of Mitsubishi GDI engines were quite problematic, and that is why up to date people still fear the Mitsubishi Pajero IO, and also the Lancers that came with a GDI, and even the Gallants that came with a GDI. So if you can avoid the Gallants that came with a GDI, please do avoid them. Now, you cannot get a car that is 100% or a car that is all round. So if you're buying yourself a Galant, if you buy the ones with the 2.4 liter or 2.5 liter V6, well, the fuel economy might not be very good, but the performance and the sound and the comfort of that car, if you do not mind fuel economy, that is a good vehicle to actually own. There are some people who swap these 2.4, 2.5 liter engines with a 7A from Toyota, and the vehicle works just fine, only that it becomes a little bit lazy. But the original stock Galant, if you do not mind fuel economy and get it with a 2.5 liter V6, it's actually a very glorious car to drive. You feel the, if you're an enthusiast, you'll feel the joy of driving a Galant, because it's quite heavy, it's planted to the ground, it's adhesive to the road, it handles like a dream, and it dents your pocket. Yeah, that's why it's number 5 on our list of affordable, reliable, and luxurious vehicles that you can own for below 500,000 Kenya shillings. I've been your host, Eric Wakabi, Eric with a CK. Remember, you can follow me at a personal level on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok as well. My handle is Eric Wakabi, Eric with a CK. So, usiwache budget ifanye uendeshe kibakuli. Over and out, guys.